Welcome to Esays, Psays, your bi-weekly dose of Black love. I'm Ellyn, the E.
And I'm Paul, the P. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. We started this podcast to share what we've learned through 37 years of marriage and more than 40 years of friendship. Every other week, we share real stories, real lessons, and sometimes real foolishness from our lives together.
And hopefully something we've learned along the way helps somebody else.
Before we jump in, let's start with a moment of gratitude. Today, I'm grateful for being able to wake up this morning in my right mind. Like the old people used to say.
That's debatable.
So look, the refrain of the song would be, "I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on Jesus. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah."
So yeah, we see why he's an author. Not a sinner.
Previously, we discussed global relationship traditions.
Oh, you forgot about me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And today I'm grateful for Tony Fish, our former minister, because she definitely helped keep this union together. So it's only right to celebrate her contribution on this anniversary episode.
Okay. All right. Tony Fish, one of my favorite people. So previously, guys, we discussed global relationship traditions. And one of those traditions was the Finnish wife carrying championships, which Paul asked if they were still happening.
Yeah, that was where the people they carry the wife and do different things.
Oh yeah, that's the title of it.
Yeah.
Okay, we do that one.
Go ahead, just
what? Where am I?
Just go start again.
Previously, we discussed global relationship traditions, and one of those traditions was the Finnish wife carrying championships, which I asked if they were still happening. Thanks to the wonderful interwebs and Google, we were able to find out that this tradition is still happening as of 2026. The race is 253.5 meters long, and the wife, quote unquote, must be at least 108 pounds and 17 years old. The winner receives the wife's weight in beer. If you missed it, take a listen. And if you're a newbie, welcome, and please subscribe so you can catch up and listen to all of our episodes.
Today, we're talking about our wedding, our almost honeymoon, family chaos, and the very emotional days that followed. Because as of April 22nd, we've been officially married for 37 years.
And honestly, when we first got married, we had absolutely no idea what we were doing.
None whatsoever. However, Mr. Mock says when we said our vows, he was completely present. I giggled my way through. So let's start before the wedding. I actually ran away from home in December of 1988. I know you guys I was 23 years old. It was as the statement goes, it was a different time. It was a different time. So I was living with my parents. And part of the reason that I ran away from home was my mother was stressing me out over the wedding planning. By this point, Paul we had been engaged for several months, and we're probably headed to a wedding in some point in 1989, 1990. So I already knew that it was going to become her wedding instead of mine. So I packed up and headed to Los Angeles.
And when she got there, I was still living with my mother, sister, niece, and brother.
Right? Which was already a full house before I arrived.
Yes.
And by the time I got there, his brother, it was just his mom, sister, and niece. So his brother had taken a little vacation.
Right.
So looking back now, we were really just two young people trying to figure life out as we went.
And that's something people don't talk enough about. sometimes marriage starts before you're fully prepared.
I agree. I agree. So now we'll move forward to New Year's Eve in South Central. It was an experience for a Brooklyn girl. And what had happened was as opposed to the South where people at the stroke of midnight step out and let off a few shots, gunshots, firecrackers, whatever, to celebrate the new year. In South Central, they start at 8 o'clock in the morning. So on this day, I don't know why Paul didn't take the day off work, but he got up and he went to work. So it was me, his mom, his sister, and his niece in the house. So all throughout the day, you would hear just, it started kind of like a pop here and a pop there and a pop there. So by the time he went to work, I wasn't really concerned. But as the day grew later and closer to midnight, there were more and more pops. So his sister and I, we were watching some movie, and this niece had fallen asleep. So Paul calls from the airport asking us to come and get him. And his sister, she wasn't my sister-in-law at that moment, went to ask his mom to borrow the keys. So his mom said no, but his mother, I don't know. She varied between sleeping hard and sleeping light. So once the mom said no, his sister came out and sat on the couch and was like, all right, let's wait for her to go back to sleep, and I'll just sneak the keys and we'll just go get them and come back. So that's what she did. And she got the keys, and we got down to the car. And who pops up as we're getting into the car? Paul's mother. And she's looking at me. And I was like, your daughter, in my head, I'm like, your daughter needs no help to get in trouble. Why are you looking at me? This is something she wouldn't have done if I hadn't been here. So she went back so we came back upstairs, and Paul called because we couldn't get him, but he could get us. And she told him, she called us, we can't come and get you. She's on high alert now.
And now that I think about it, at the time when Ellyn told me she couldn't come get me because my mother wouldn't let me use the car, I was so mad. But, and this is a story for another day, I realized later that was really the right decision. And to not come get me, that would put them in mortal danger as they attempted to do so, as I later realized from after taking the bus.
Yeah, and I get, if we had gone at the time that he asked, we probably would have been okay. I don't know. Coming back, it might have been kind of iffy.
Right.
But at that time, they were still shooting, but it wasn't crazy. But as we got to 11 and we got closer to 12, everybody just went crazy.
Oh, yeah.
So as we're sitting there, so now because Paul is called, we don't know whether he's going to come home or whether he's going to stay at the airport. So we're just his sister's chilling. In my head, I'm like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
And because I had never, like I said, a couple of shots down at my uncle's in the South when we would go visit for the holidays. Happy New Year, come back in, sit down. By midnight, if you had a gun, you were shooting. So imagine like this, however many square miles of Los Angeles on fire from basically South Central back to, did they start Inglewood or back towards the airport?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you've ever been to Los Angeles, or if you ever go and you're by like where the Forum is,
Inglewood.
and the Inglewood, and where the new football stadium is, and you start coming towards South Central and heading towards USC, that's how many miles. And then that's just where we were. So you can still go further back behind the Forum, and all these people are shooting at the same time. Right. I'm amazed the next day on the news, it was like 500 people flooded the emergency room.
It was just mind you that I was able to get home, but I took the bus, and oh my goodness, the bus driver, everybody was scared who was on the bus. And I had to. Now I shared this with my wife, but I hadn't shared this with many people. You know, I had to get 2 buses to get home. So that means once I got dropped off at one stop, I had to wait. It wasn't really certain if the other bus was coming. So you talking about just having faith in the Lord. I'm telling you, and I was praying, and look, and you could hear the gunshot all around me. Oh, and it was by the grace of God that I was able to make it home alive. Yeah, it's just I kind of have a feeling how these guys who were in the war, you know, and they got those guns all around them. I was like, oh my God, I could never imagine how that must. And then I felt it. I saw what it feels like. Because you don't know if you're gonna die or not. You get hit by the bullets. Don't have, like they say, bullets don't have eyes. So I could have very easily been killed or hurt. And I tell you, those bus drivers, I look at them as heroes. They drove us, and I'm telling you, I don't know how they did it. You know, and they did it. They had to have been great men, men of great faith too. I mean, bullets were going everywhere. You could hear gunshots everywhere. And as I got off the bus to walk, I still had to walk up the street now to get.
Yes,
We here going. Just want to make my wife understanding this.
And we lived about we lived about mid-block, so he had to get off on the corner and walk like halfway down the block to get to where his mother's apartment was.
I'm telling you, and that's what the grace of God. Thank you, God. I even have to say thank you, Jesus, right now. I'm gonna say thank you, Jesus. That was the grace of God that I made it home.
And I'll say on that, absolutely, because his sister and I were shocked when he came through the door because we thought he was going to stay at the airport at least until like around later in the morning, like around 3, 4, or 5, when everybody kind of had stopped.
And let me say this:
going to bed.
I could not get. I don't know if you guys are familiar. Maybe you are. Like those airport vans that pick people up.
Do they still have? I don't think they have those anymore. They have them? Okay. Yes. The Airport Express.
Well, I don't know if they have them now, but I know they had them when I was working. And let me tell you, there was no amount of money they would take to take. When I told them where I was going, it was like, I mean, I tried about 4 or 5 of them, and they were these were some guys that I had used in the past who had ridden me home before. But they were like, listen, I had even partied with some of these guys. They were like, listen, hey, we love you, but ain't nowhere in hell that we're going to take you over there. Not tonight. He said, now maybe a few more hours. My wife said, maybe I had waited a few more hours. I could have gotten the ride, through the van. And I could have stayed, but I didn't want to leave them with all that, especially her not being from Los Angeles, my wife, to listen to all that and be afraid. So I said that's why I tried to get home. But
and if we'd been thinking, well, it probably would have been expensive. But if we'd have been thinking, we just would have got a room down near the airport.
Right. Yeah.
But it was probably high because a lot of people come in. A lot of people come into town for the holidays, and then a lot of people stay by the airport.
That went through.
Yes. So so we to translate it into New Yorkese, what happened on New Year's Eve is equivalent to being in the outer boroughs in Manhattan after 12, wanting to get a yellow cab home.
Right.
Back in the day before they had the lawsuit, and they had to take us home now. Yes. So that's it. I mean, without bullets, but that's the equivalent. Like being in Manhattan, and Paul and I experienced that because he spent time in New York as well.
Yeah.
Dating, going to the movies after 1 o'clock. And it's not like the trains don't run. They just take forever. Right. So if you have a few dollars, let's hop in a cab.
Get home.
And I can get home in 30 minutes as opposed to 2 hours.
Right.
But they would not. They said, where you going? No, I can't help you.
That's true.
But we came to learn that it wasn't always color that they weren't taking us. That was an empty ride back.
Right.
So that was the reason a lot of cabs did not want to go to the outer boroughs. So yes, great fare going, but now I got to ride back empty because I'm not picking anybody up from Brooklyn.
Okay, so reflection point. So thinking about that whole situation, with the New Year's Eve and all of that, it was like that was one of our first real lessons in adjustment. Marriage, we learned that marriage isn't just learning from each other, it's learning from each other's worlds, because I had lived in New York, and now she was living with me in Los Angeles. And she was experiencing my world. I'm sure she had, and even she told me, I heard about South Central, but I never knew it was like this. And it was akin, really, and I'm not exaggerating, particularly after a certain time of night. And granted, it wouldn't be like this all the time.
No.
I was during New Year's Eve.
That was-
There were times when it could get that way, and my wife asked me where they grew up, and she said, "Oh my God!" And you have just to tell you the stress level that I dealt with. I was diagnosed with hypertension. I was like 12 or 13. So hypertension and high blood pressure because of the stress living in that type of environment. That's not normal.
No,
It's not normal to be around gunshots, in middle school all the time.
no.
It's not normal. That level of violence that you see and hear, that's not a normal existence. Now, we've normalized it in our society somewhat, but that's not normal.
No.
That way.
No, it's not. Not at all.
But I had learned to live in New York was the pace. I really enjoyed living in New York. It was so many different cultures and different types of food and things that you had to have an eclectic palate to live in New York, and it was just very. And my wife had exposed me to a lot, But then it was interesting for her when she came to live with me. And yeah, she saw the beaches and different things. That's very nice.
Yeah.
But then you go to my neighborhood, and then if you came out every door of the day, you would never think
That all that.
all that activity can happen. That you had gangs, unless you saw some stuff, some tags on the wall, you didn't even know it was gangs in the neighborhood. But then let that nighttime come, sunset come, things start happening.
And believe it or not, but we're talking about the 80s and 90s when they still had the not the Golden Globes, the Oscar. There is a auditorium right across from USC. So I was working, and I know you hear us keep speaking about the bus. So on the West Coast at that time, they didn't have the trains yet. So it was just a bus that would take you all over, and you would have to connect and figure it out. So I get to Los Angeles. I'm going to work, and I happen to work downtown. I had different types of temp jobs, but most of the places where I would work were downtown Los Angeles. So the first time I go, I come back because I was registering for some temp agencies, and then when I would work, I would go that way and come back. So I come back home, and I'm like, Paul, and he's like, what? I said, was that USC over there off of 13th Street? And he was like, yeah. And I think one particular day I was coming back from work, and you could see the limos and stuff lined up. And I come back home, I said, Paul, he was like, what? I said, is that the auditorium that they have the Oscars in right across from USC? And he was like, yes. And so, when you're from a different area, you kind of make up your own little world around stuff. So when you see certain things, you believe it should be in a better place.
Right.
So who would have thought that USC is at the corner of the hood? It's like right at the intersection. When you cross past USC, you're downtown Los Angeles. So you're technically in a different neighborhood.
Yeah.
And that auditorium is like right midway between that crossing and USC. But it's like, so they come down here? I said, there must be police everywhere. You just can't see them because it's like you're bringing the hoity-toity, the upper echelon of Hollywood to the Oscars, basically around the corner from the hood.
Yeah.
So they must be paying people, got undercover people everywhere to stop people from being around there.
Not to cut you off there. People don't realize they see USC, University of Southern California, blah 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 blah. You know, but it's right in, and I saw that when I lived in New York. Thinking about Columbia and where
Columbia is the same. Yeah,
USC is similarly situated when you comparatively speaking, like Columbia is.
Yeah.
So right there in the hood, back in the middle, a little bit, right in the, it's like almost like centered right there in the hood, and then all around it is all different things going on. I was thinking about when we went to Philadelphia and Temple University.
Yes,
Temple's right there in the hood, right there in the hood. So there are many universities. Yale, was it Yale?
Yeah, Yale.
So a lot of universities, some of these are right there in the hood.
Which I don't understand, but maybe it wasn't the hood when they got there, but it became the hood later.
So, land was cheap.
Yeah,
in those areas too.
Yeah,
so that they easy to build in those areas, depressed areas.
Yes. Well, suffice it to say, I don't know what they do with that auditorium now, but I did notice. I think even before Paul and I left, they were building up Universal Studios, and they moved the Oscars up there.
Right.
So they weren't across from USC. So I guess the powers that be also, I guess, as people are coming into the academy, they they needed more space. So they moved up to Universal, that Sony Theater that they built up there. Yeah. So they weren't there, I think, the whole time we were there. I think by the time we left South Central, they were gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to say all of this, we were living with my mother during some of this time, and we were talking about the thing during the years.
Yeah.
And we were finally able to
get our own place across the street. And believe it or not, when we did move across the street, thankfully it was one of Paul's teachers on the apartment building, and he happened to be working on a couple of the units, and he was willing to rent to us. I think he had 4 or 5 units.
4 or 5 units.
Yeah.
Actually 6 units. Yeah, 6. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So so it was kind of empty when we came over there. Yeah. I think it was he had like the super's apartment that he kept for himself, and then there was another set of people in there, and then we moved in, and then other people moved in after.
And it was very nice. We were in between places at the time. There had been a little turbulence in my mother's house. So what happened was we were kind of in between places, and he was nice enough to let us use his while he was getting our apartment ready.
Yeah.
He let us stay in the little apartment he had there just for him. I guess the tent was the super's apartment.
Yeah, super's apartment. Yeah.
Only for a few days until we were able to move in. So he was great. What that taught me is that it's very important to be respectful to your elders. Not just because you might need something, and then just to treat people with respect in general. When he remembered me, I didn't even know he that he had owned that building across from my mom.
No,
I just happened to see him watering the grass.
Yeah,
I spoke to him about a apartment, and he asked about were you working. He said, "I'm sure you are because you was such a like this man. It had been 6 years. I haven't seen him.
Yeah, because you graduated from college.
He said, I'm sure you're working somewhere." And he remembered, and I was not. Let me just say this: algebra was not, but I guess I put such an impression on it. He still remembered me, and he did rent to me.
He was also instrumental in helping Paul start the process towards teaching, but it just wasn't meant to be in California because he tried.
He wanted to be teaching so bad, but I was working at that time for immigration, making pretty good salary, and my head was not just in that space.
Yeah, he took the test and stuff. It wasn't working out.
No.
So once we got our own place, when I would check in with my parents, my mother would keep asking, "When are y'all getting married?" Now, mind you, yes, we were living in sin, but we fully intended to get married. We were just broke and trying to figure things out. Then one day, because Paul got the paper, he didn't get the well. Okay, if he got the paper every day, if he was going to work, the paper stayed at work. He didn't bring it home. So if it was the Sunday paper or the Saturday paper, it was in the house. So this, I think it was either Sunday or Saturday paper, and I happened to be looking through the classifieds because, as I said, I was looking for work. And on the back of the classifieds, in the LA Times, there were Las Vegas wedding packages. It was 3 days, 2 nights, a flight, hotel, limo, chapel, everything for $299.
And that was our budget luxury package.
And honestly, that trip taught me something important. Sometimes you stop waiting for perfect and just move forward together.
Amen.
So once we booked it, well, there was more to booking it. So I was like, and it wasn't like Paul and I couldn't have taken care of it, but the father of the bride is supposed to pay for the wedding. So I called my dad and he sent the money. And then once we booked it, my mom said to call back and let us know the particulars. So when I called back and I let her know, she said, your dad and I and your brother are going to come. And I was like, oh, wow. So when I got off the phone, I told Paul, I said, your future in-laws are coming. He was like, wow. Because we weren't getting married for anybody else. We were going for ourselves. Neither one of us had ever been to Vegas, so this was going to be something new, something to do. So that, and then as each call came, as we were preparing to go to
Las Vegas,
preparing for Las Vegas, then my two of my aunts were coming. My oldest aunt and one of my mid-range aunts. On my mother's side, she has 7 sisters and 4 brothers.
Mm-hmm.
So they're 12. And then the entire time I kept asking the one question. I said, is Aunt Clarine coming? And she's my other mother. So, and she's my favorite aunt. So and my mother, was like, I don't know, she keeps going back and forth. And I would call her, we were talking about, Auntie, are you coming? And she's like, I don't know. So then when we got to Vegas, once we got there, she was there, and it was like my whole heart. It was like my whole heart lit up. I was like,
Yeah.
our wedding day is complete. I don't think we would have felt that way if she hadn't have been there.
It was a beautiful thing, really. Yeah.
And as Paul and I mentioned earlier, the actual ceremony was quick. It took longer to prepare for the wedding than to have the wedding. My father walked me down the aisle. We said our vows, and just like that, we were married.
And I had no clue what marriage was really going to require at all.
I will, at that particular point, I will agree. Neither one of us. Yeah, I don't know what we thought marriage was, but it's not what we thought it was going to be. Even to this day, I'll say that.
Yeah, marriage is a lot of work. It's very important.
Yeah, it's another job.
To listen to each other. All right, go ahead. And we had the real work is learning how to build a life together. That's the real work.
Yeah, you think that the wedding is the hard part? Yeah, that's the easy one.
That's right.
And so what's interesting is right after one of the happiest moments of my life came one of the saddest. And before that moment, after our wedding ceremony, we did have dinner with the family. And my father would just take us out to dinner from time to time as a family. So when we got there, all my aunts and stuff are looking at the menus. So they're looking for the prices. So of course my oldest aunt, never to be never outdone. She was like, she's looking at the menu and she's like, where are the prices? And so finally, my father's just sitting there smirking, because having gone out with my father at various restaurants, I knew once I got the menu, I was like, the person who's paying has the menu with the prices on it. So finally, like the 3rd or 4th time she asked, he was like, I got it. You want it? She was like, no, I just wanted to know where it was. He was like, I can give it to you. He said, you want to pay, I can give it to you. So it's always when my father's in the mix with his sister-in-laws. It's always a time to be had. So as you know, Paul and I, as I previously said, the saddest moment shortly after Paul and I got married and we were settling in back in Los Angeles, my biological father became very sick.
Yeah.
And before we could really kind of get into marriage, he passed away.
And also, not to overstep on that, but she was pregnant too.
I didn't know that yet. Did I know that?
See?
Yeah, I didn't know that
Yeah.
yet. Yeah. So that emotional shift, it was hard. And I was more so
Plus, we had moved.
yeah.
Have we moved?
No, we hadn't
Okay.
moved yet.
Okay.
Then we were still in South Central.
Right, that's right.
So one moment I'm celebrating becoming a wife, and the next moment I'm grieving my biological father. And I'll say I was more angry than sad because we have recently reconnected. I'm the person in this story that I say is my father, the men that walked me down the aisle and everything. That's my dad. That's my father. That's the person I know that raised me. He married my mom when I was 2 or 3 years old, and that's dad. So my biological father wasn't in my life. And when I met him briefly at my grandmother's house at 13, he was like, "Do you know who I am?" And I was like, "Yes," and kept on moving. So then eventually, you know, as we do, we want to find out who we are as we get older. So when I was around 22, I started to look for him and we started to get to know each other and hang out. Paul met him once or twice. Paul thought Paul happened to be staying on the block where my parents' house was. He was staying down the street. So he saw this man pull up and he thought, because my father, very good looking man, tall, you know, and he doesn't look his age. So Paul thought that I had brought some man on the block. So he's walking down and looking, and I'm wondering, like, why is he looking? So after my father left, he told me why he was looking because I had introduced him. I was like, you know, this is Mr. Fisher. He was like, oh. And I think that's about it. Paul might have seen him another time, but I don't think he really got to know my biological father.
I saw him every day.
Oh yeah, once we had our son, once we had our
he's built like him too. He's not as tall as he is.
Yeah, once we had our oldest son, he looks like my father.
Yeah.
But that was it. And then I thought, you know, that because he dropped me off at the airport, as I've said, so I thought that we would have a chance to start to talk to each other, build more of a relationship. But he was gone. And that was that.
Well, and then go ahead, and then looking back now.
Yeah, so yeah, looking back now, I realize marriage isn't just about celebrating together. It's also about grieving together. And we've done a lot of that.
Yeah. And learning how to hold each other up and through both of those situations.
Yeah. But when you're
celebrations and through grief, that's another thing. And that's just that, you know, the celebration part, that's the stuff, that's the part that's, you know, you get married, everybody celebrates, that's great. But they don't teach you about grief.
No.
And when you have relatives that die in each other's family, how you respond. And just keep this in mind too. I was very, very close to a lot of Ellyn's aunts. Yeah. They met me when I was 19 years old. 18, 19, I think it was 19 when they met me. So I was young. I was a young guy. So I knew a lot of them. So, you know, it's very painful for me as well. Not as painful as it was for her, but for me it was very painful to lose them, like when they passed away. So it was tough.
Yeah, because
nobody teaches you about that. How to handle that. Even my own father's death.
Yeah.
How to deal with that, how to handle it. You know, death is just hard. Grief is hard. Grieving is difficult.
Yes, though I think Paul and I, of all of the losses that we could have expected, I think because Mr. Mock did not take good care of himself. We didn't expect it as soon as it happened, but I think out of all of the people that we would have expected to pass, it would have been him. Yeah. Especially before my biological father. Yeah. Because he just did not he had health issues and he was not caring for any of them. Mr. Mock was living his life.
Right.
He went out on his
And this
own
is not to say
terms.
he didn't go to the doctor, but he didn't always listen what the doctor was telling him to do.
But Mr. Mike enjoyed his life. Right?
Yeah.
So he went out on his own terms and he was good. So now that, you know, we had the funerals, we celebrated, and, you know, my biological father has been eulogized and buried, we start regular life and reality kicks in. And Mr. Mock, the younger Mr. Mock, my Mr. Mock, expected a hot dinner on the table the second he walked through the door.
Now, let me say this. I felt hey, listen, I was working hard. You know, I was taking care. At that time, I think Ellyn was working. You were working. Weren't you working at this American? About to get a job.
Yeah, and if I wasn't, see, when one I don't know if it applies today, but back in the day, the best way to get into a job market in a new area was temp agencies.
Right.
So I may not have always been working successively,
right,
but I was working from time to time.
So now I know what the problem. You heard the word successively.
Forget you, Paul.
So this was the issue. So I was working, and in fairness to her, she wouldn't always know what time I was coming home because it was what you call man-to-man relief. So, you know, you had to wait for your man to come. It was shift work. You know, I worked at the airport. I was the immigration inspector where you had to take a look at passports to see if they were fraudulent or not. Just people's documents in general.
It's now all Homeland Security and TSA.
Right. So, but the thing is, sometimes, you know, we would work sometimes, you know, we have to stay over, work an additional 2 or 3 or 4 hours. Sometimes I would work double shifts, you know, so, you know, I will, and in fairness to her, at that, I don't remember even cell phones.
No, there weren't.
Yes.
Yeah, so, pagers? No, not even pagers.
Yeah. Then, so
we had a home.
Really telling our age now. So anyway, for me, let's say if I was coming home, and a lot of times I'd be ready to go. And when I found it, when I was able to go, I would go to my locker and move. So what happened, you know, a lot of times I would come home, nothing to eat. I'd be starved, this and that. So what happened, this is, you know how this all stopped? There was a soulful place right down the street. So what she would do, I didn't care. As long as there was some hot food, there's something to eat. She would make sure I had food. That stopped all the arguing. So I think what she learned in that situation too is to what's the term I'm trying to
be proactive,
adaptability, being innovative. Because she realized I didn't really care as long as it was something for me to eat and it was hot. It's not that whole issue. And then she would start cooking more, you know, and stuff like that too. And then she got a full-time job because she got a job working for this American hospital.
So if I was, the restaurant happened to be on the side where the bus would stop and drop me off. So if I got home and they were still open, I would pick up meals for both of us and bring them home, and vice versa. If Paul got home before I did, he would stop over there, or he would stop because there were more restaurant options on his route home than mine. So it
was this place called Beef Bowl.
Yeah, so he.
Oh my goodness, you guys! It was so delicious.
Yes.
And best and healthy.
Yeah,
that was important to us too, to have, you know, healthy food. And so we did that, and we just had to work together, teamwork.
Because it becomes, well, you have to figure. When I got there, I wasn't working continuously. So Paul, you know, if he was on his off days, so I was living on holiday. I admit that. Paul would be off, and if he got paid that week, we'd be shopping. We'd at the movies. We at the mall. So I was enjoying my life. When we got married, it was like, I was like, oh, the shopping's over.
It wasn't
over, but
it was like
it was just like another, I guess, another layer and another space that needed to be.
And I should have been. I wasn't recognizing that this was. She first of all, Ellyn was out of it. Ellyn. This was not Brooklyn, New York.
No, it was
where
not.
we were. She's trying to adjust to a new city, being a wife. So I didn't really think about her, what she was trying to adjust. Me, I was happy because I was making that money, getting paid. I didn't have to ask nobody for nothing. You know, I can make as much as I wanted when I was at immigration. But what did I not think about? Her at home. And so it just lets you know how you have to grow through marriage. I didn't think about.
I don't have any friends. I didn't know. I didn't.
Yeah, she was by herself. And she really, and now that I think about it, I fast forward to today, a lot of times Ellyn would be by herself in that apartment and stuff like that. So, you know, as a husband, you have to think not just of yourself, but what your spouse is going through too. And that she's in there, she didn't have basically no family. My father was there, but he didn't have a car.
He was further over,
and she didn't have a car either. Another thing.
Yeah,
she's taking the bus everywhere. We're taking buses everywhere. I was taking the bus to work. She was taking the bus to work. Wherever we had to do, we would. And maybe that's why I get a little agitated. I'm segueing a little bit, but I gotta touch on this. You know, you got some people to say, I can't work. I can't find a job. I can't do this. I can't wash my clothes.
No
lie. I mean, I don't have. Wait a minute.
I found a shopping cart. I would get a shopping cart from the grocery store and walk our laundry to the laundromat.
We did that. We didn't have no car for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm talking about grocery shopping. We had to go grocery shopping. Put them bags on the bus. We didn't have to do it a whole lot, but we did it.
Or get a hack.
Or get a hack or whatever. And look.
Oh, point of reference. What? A hack. If you're in I guess Baltimore, you know what a hack is. Mm-hmm. But they had them in Los Angeles too. Usually a lot of older men that have a car that will take you from the grocery store or back to your home. Just taking it, trying to make, I guess, a few dollars in between their Social Security and using their car because they don't have anything else to do.
That's true.
Yeah, and I guess it would be equivalent to a dollar cab. It was not a dollar anymore, but a dollar cabin or a dollar van in Brooklyn.
And I just think that you have to make a way. You can make a way. We did it.
Yeah.
So you can make a way. Especially, that's why I always talk about marriage. We're talking about marriage. You don't have to have a whole lot of money to get married. All this. Oh, my money not right. Oh. Sometimes your money will never be right. If you love the person, marry the person. Marry the person. If you love them, you say you love them, she loves you, and you love her, marry her. Don't waste time. You can build together. You know what I'm saying? And it makes the marriage stronger. So
yeah, I coming from a build a marriage, mm-hmm. I would say that's
I like build a marriage.
That because it wasn't like it would have been nice to have a big wedding the first time, but like I said, that was going to cause a whole lot of anxiety and anxiousness and fights.
And what my wife used to say to me, marriages are not built on perfection. Okay, they're built on being able to work things out together and problem solve together.
Yeah, so
you don't build marriages on how's a marriage going to be perfect? When you first get married, how's stuff gonna be perfect? You're gonna have you got different personalities.
Yeah, but you're not thinking about that.
No, you're not.
And the other thing is, Paul not having a large wedding would have ended up with probably all of my family there, and maybe 2 or 3 people from his family, possibly. Mm. So I don't know if because I'll let it be. His family didn't know we were getting married. I'm not sure. His father, I know why he didn't attend, but if Paul and I wanted him there, he would have got there.
Yeah.
And I would say I was still kind of on the outs with Paul's mother at that particular time, so she wasn't coming. So, And if they hadn't met me, because you have to, this is a different time now. This is no FaceTime, no anything like
Right.
that. So they would have been coming across country to see that her son get married to somebody, a family that he knows, and they know none of these people.
Yeah.
So it worked out the way it was supposed to work out.
Absolutely.
And now it's time for our mock minute.
This week's mock minute is brought to you by Ease Teas and our All About That Base Tea, inspired by our niece who loves softball. We miss her so much. And then if you prefer hoodies, just let us know. We'll make it happen for you. The link is in the description.
And since we're, celebrating this week and celebrating our anniversary in this episode, we did something new for this at the beginning of this month of May. We attended our first book festival.
Yay!
The Annapolis Book Festival. And as first time participants as opposed to attendees, it was overwhelming but informative. And the reason that we went was because as you guys know, Paul is an author, and we have other books and things in the making, and and because we're new to the publishing world, we thought you slap book on Amazon, miracles come true. Well, that's not the case.
That's right.
Got to put in a little work.
Yeah.
So as we're learning about the work that has to be put in, we're having these new experiences. And the children our youngest son and his girlfriend came and they helped us. I think that the Mr. he wasn't as his gregarious self. I think it was overwhelming. It was a lot. It was from a vendor point of view as opposed to attendee just walking through and trying to figure out what you should be saying and what you should be showing and how does our table look and all these kinds of things. We learned a lot. We met a lot of people. And I will tell you, the author community, the author artist community, very supportive. There wasn't one person like we were on a corner. The person behind us, as soon as they walked in, they were like, "Hey, how you doing?" And from that moment till the time we left, we chitted and chatted. And the other two people behind us, an older gentleman, he talked to us about his book. I didn't even realize you could mix some of these genres together. But we met horror authors, self-help people. We met a bit of everybody. Memoirs, fantasy. They had a children's book section.
It was awesome. Let me say this. I want to give a shout out to my wife because she really, she worked her butt off to get this thing together for us. And she worked extremely hard. I'm so appreciative of all the effort that she put in. But then this all the background work. See, a lot of times people don't see what's the stuff that's going behind it. I call it, behind the scenes. And she just was outstanding as far as getting us to this. I had never heard of the book festival, and she had. And then and it was a wonderful setup. The way it was set up, how she had it set up, you should have seen it, you guys. Beautiful tent, and she had a big sign with our media group, Mock Media Group. The way she had things displayed, and you would have never known that this was her first time doing this. So I was over. Usually, I'm not one who has a hard time saying anything, So, but it was a lot of activities going on, and then you had children who were happy. And then you had the food vendors.
Oh yes, we had some good food
surrounding the area, so it was very nice. People were nice. The organizers of the festival, they always came to check in on us. You okay? You need anything? So very worthwhile experience. And then, like my wife says, Ellyn talked about the other authors, very supportive. Came in, many of them came and asked about the book, what the book was about. So one thing I did learn is it's important to have an audio version of whatever you've written. And so we'll be working on that down the road and getting an audio version of the book. completed.
The only drawback about being a vendor at a book festival is you want to buy everybody's book,
Yes.
which defeats the purpose.
Right.
Because if you buy everybody's book,
Yeah.
all of your profits go down the drain. So you have to.
Good.
Some of them were really good. So what I did do is I just started taking pictures, and so I have them in my phone at a later date because I was like, we can't buy everybody's book.
Right.
But it was I stay in contact with one of the young ladies that I've met, and I have a couple of their books that I'm reading. So if we do have a couple of more festivals that we'll have on tap, and we'll make sure, as we always do, to announce it in the podcast. And if you're on one of our sites on social media, you'll see it. If you're sign up for the newsletter, you'll get it in there as well. So
I'm sorry.
So no, I'm the anything else about the festival?
Just that it was an awesome event. We look forward to going to other festivals. What we did learn though, yeah, I had to say this part right here, is that it's when you're done, you pack everything back in, in the vehicle, and this we were exhausted when we
Yes.
I mean, this is a lot. It was like a long day. And we did have a nice dinner with our son and his fiance. And so that was enjoyable. Then we had to drive back. But when we got here, home, night, love you, honey, love you, and we went to sleep.
Yes.
And little by little, we've gotten some of the things out of the car. But it's just it's a big ramp up.
Yes.
Getting ready to go to the event. So, you're ramping up, trying to get everything ready. And then once you get there, you got to set everything up. And my wife, I had to talk about this. My wife had a tent too that she had gotten this, and it was awesome. I'm glad she got it. It was awesome too. So we had a tent. But it's a lot of setup now, just want to let you know. And then you have to get everything displayed and whatnot. But it takes a little time to come back from it. But it still was a worthwhile experience. So question of the week here.
Yes, I know we've asked you guys from time to time to send in questions. So hopefully this will get your juices marinating, and you'll get those questions into us either on our social media or through our emails. So our first question is, when it comes to your spouse's relatives, do either of you have the right to say no to a request, or should it be discussed and then communicated? Well, for my husband and myself, I will say it depends. Now, if it's, I'll put them in order. When it comes to parents of either of your spouses, no, you can't arbitrarily say no to a request,
right?
Unless it's just so outrageous that your partner would be like, no. So
when it comes to those things, it shouldn't be a unilateral decision. You should both come and talk about it, and respect each other's opinion, and then come with an answer.
Yeah.
And then when you give the answer to that particular relative, you should do it together, not one person.
Yeah.
And then you'll have them thinking, oh, he doesn't like me or she doesn't like me. No, we both telling you no.
Yeah.
We're both saying yes.
Yes.
So you're always going as a team.
Yes.
So because people know, let me say this, people would try to draw a wedge between you. So you have to stay together and unified in whatever response it is, whatever the response is.
Yes.
And somebody's got to make the final decision too.
Well, yeah, that's
only, you don't want to tear your marriage up over something, but have some common sense. Have some common sense too. It just, don't make any rash decisions.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I will say, when it comes to this particular question, we've experienced that ourselves. Like, the hierarchy, of course, your parents are the hierarchy. I've never, unfortunately, my mother-in-law was sick. I'd say about mid marriage. We had our second son, and unfortunately she didn't make it.
Yeah.
And Paul looked at me and he was like, my mom might have to, because he had gone out to see her before our second son was born. And he said, my mom may have to come stay with us. And I just looked at him like, huh? Because I won't say that I never got along with my mother-in-law, but we just never really got to know each other.
Yeah.
I think, as time passed and because of the distance, we really didn't talk to each other, but I think we came to respect each other as for who we were.
Yeah, she respects you. And another thing too, with mothers, we kind of like mothers off limits. What I mean by that is, we may not get along or whatever, but if somebody's mother, we kind of believe that.
Yeah.
Like if it's one of our mothers, yes, she coming.
Yeah.
I don't like, I might have a disagreement or she might be disagreeable, but she still can come.
Yeah.
Now, so, but the other relatives,
yeah, you better.
We've done that too. Look,
assess.
Yeah, we got to be an assessment done about who can come because people that come in your home, they'll upturn your apple cart in your home because remember now you have a certain routine with your kids.
Yes.
So you got a certain routine. They do their homework at a certain time. They take the shower. They, look, they go to bed at a certain time. Dinner's served at a certain time. You got to have a structure in your home. You can't have chaos. And that's what we were always on one accord with, the structure. And she was a little stricter than me. Don't let Ellyn little face fool y'all. Ellyn tough.
And we've come to learn that just because your house runs like A, does not mean everybody else's does. And that's where a lot of conflicts came in when other relatives came to stay with us. It's like, what's going on with you?
Right. Because your expectations could be different. It may not be the same expectations that you have in your home. You see? But see, I don't want you living with me forever. so we had to prepare you. Ellyn was like that too. Because I know what tonight. I told Ellyn, you too hard. You did too hard on the children. And Ellyn said, we trying to raise men. And she was right. She's right. Because you can't be, you've got to raise them and make sure that you're engaged in what they're doing. But you can't let them do what they want to do. You got to have some structure in their home. Okay? And Ellyn was right. You have to. And then you got to teach them how to survive.
And I will applaud ourselves and pat ourselves on the back. Although when we were in it, we were like, what in the ever loving is going on? The children that pass through our home are all successful in the ways that they want to be.
Yeah.
And when they were in our home and they left, the only thing Paul and I could do is look at each other and say, I hope that the time that they spent here impresses upon them that whatever it is they want to do next, that they will succeed.
Yeah.
And
that's right.
And it did.
Yeah.
And they have gone way beyond whatever it was that we thought they could be.
One nephew got his own business, his own juice, and I'm very proud of him, CC. I'm very proud of CC. He has his own juicing business. He's a tremendous father, so I'm very proud of him. Jared, very proud of him. Now he's been able to be a conductor on a commercial train. That is a tremendous achievement that he has made.
And I'm getting the evil eye. I love Jared, but y'all just pray for the train system. Just pray.
Oh, stop! he's a hard worker.
No, he's a hard worker.
And works hard. He has got his own business. I'm very proud of Jared. Then William, very proud of William, got his college degree. These are boys that stayed in our home.
Well, William's our son. Yes, he stayed in our home.
Let me talk about it. We're talking about raising kids. And he finished college, and then he's getting ready to go get his MBA from the University of South Carolina. So I'm very proud of him. And then my oldest son, very proud of my oldest son. So he got a 2 degree, one from Loyola, and two. He got his bachelor's from Loyola and his master's in teaching from Loyola. Very proud of him, working towards his doctorate and doing beautiful. So the thing is, you have to work together. You have to be aligned. You have to be on one accord. So a lot of times people look at that and say, oh, they start laughing that off. That being on one accord is, particularly with child rearing, is very important.
I agree.
You have to be on one accord. And then you have to back up. Now, if you disagree, go in the back room, wait till the kids sleep, and then disagree. Never disagree in front of them.
No, we didn't. There were times I wanted to, and he knew, because he would say something, and I would just look at him crazy, and I
know I look crazy, but sometimes Ellyn would just walk out the house. Listen, and then I think, look, Ellyn done things. I'd be like, is she okay? But sometimes you have to get through the children.
Yeah,
because they be looking at you like something's wrong with you. Something's wrong with you because you're not doing what I asked you to do. But they have to be taught. Children have to be trained. We just can't let children just go out here in the community and think they're going to have direction. No, it's your job. And let me just say this part. I don't know if people sound like I'm going to sound a little preachy. I'm really trying not to. It doesn't matter what you're going through. You got to make sure your kids are straight.
True. I
got to do that.
I will agree to that, because even
you're gonna go through some stuff in life.
Yes, and your children, and you don't think. I think. See, it was different for us because our parents were so silent about certain things.
Right.
Yes, you did overhear conversations when they would be talking to their siblings or their friends or whatever, but you never actually knew what was going on in your house.
Right.
Because your parents were so quiet about it. But and also I was in the house, so it wasn't easy to hear what was going on from my parents. But my sons, we were in an apartment, so they could hear what was going on with us. So if you didn't have a united front, if you were arguing and fighting all the time, they knew something wasn't right, and that can discomfort your children.
That's right. Yes. Absolutely. All right, dear. So I go to our next episode, tease. So,
go ahead.
In our next episode, we'll be discussing finances and retirement planning with one of my favorite people, one of our favorite people, Michael, our cousin, Michael Collison, a retired software engineer and financier. And trust us, this conversation turned into a whole series, which we will be presenting in upcoming episodes throughout the next several weeks. So have your notepads ready. You're in for a wondrous treat. Also, if you have retirement or finance questions, please send them in.
And a quick disclaimer, we are not therapists. We're simply sharing lessons from our crazy love story and hoping something helps someone else.
Thank you to everyone who spent a little time with us today. We truly appreciate it.
And remember, if someone in your life has made a difference, let them know. Give thanks while people can still hear it. You can connect with us at mockmediagroup.com, at mockmediagroup on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, at Esays, Psays on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and mockmediagroup4@gmail.com for questions, comments, or just information. And if you'd like to support the show, check out our Buy Me a Coffee link in the description.
And don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thanks for joining
us for your
bi-weekly dose of Black love.
I like that.
1